Welcome to Earth 2, where superheroes exist and American gods talk is the norm. It's your boy MoeCrosby. You're back on another weekly episode of the American Gods recap and review. So sit back, relax, and as always,
welcome to the planet.
This episode, Get Gone, is the episode where we get to see the events that happened between Laura and Shadow that caused Laura's death. Ended up with Shadow in prison and ends, and we see how it all culminates into Laura sitting on Shadow's bed at the end of episode 3. So without further ado, let's get into this review. American Gods has done something great in every episode where it does a little character focus. With episode 1, 2, and maybe 3, we've gotten more character focus on Shadow and Mr. Wednesday now, and some other interesting characters. Like we got a character focus on Chernobog. We got a character focus on, we got a little character focus last week on the genie. So now we're getting to see Laura's actual character. Everything that had led to her coming up to sitting on Shadow's bed. So in the beginning of the episode, it opens with her in the casino where she works, very unhappy, very self-destructive at a point in it, and until Shadow walks in and Shadow tries to scheme her. She notices and she tells him not to do it. Shadow approaches her in the parking lot after she gets off, and he says to her, let's get your casino, let's rob it. She's like, no, I like working here. Why am I gonna do that? I've been working here for 4 years. Why would I do that? Whatever. She brings Shadow home. They get into this whirlwind relationship, very wild, very, very interesting relationship, and they start dating. Shadow decides to lead a straight life, and with Dane Cook's character, they come in together and he builds this life together with Laura, and Laura doesn't. At some point, she starts to, the happiness starts to fade. It becomes monotonous, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. This is just regular life. I'm not, enjoying benefits. I'm not reaping the benefits of life anymore. I'm not happy anymore. And she decides to, tell Shadow, like, okay, you know what? When you met me a couple years ago, you had brought the idea up of robbing the casino. So let's go through and do it again. And let's go through with it. It's been 8 years and I'm not happy anymore. And Shadow was like, no, it doesn't matter. Money's not an issue. I'm working now. She's like, that's not the point. I'm just not happy, and this will make me happy. And Shadow's not understanding where she's coming from, because again, to him, as he says to her, I will live in a cardboard box as long as I'm with you. And she's like, well, that's fine and dandy, but it still doesn't make me personally happy. And it's unfortunate because that's how most people in this world live. So if you're out there and you're not happy with the way your life is going, or you're not happy with things, instead of engaging in self-destructive behavior, I would advise for you to go talk to someone and find a way to get your happiness. I'm sorry I went out of the review, but let's get back into it. And so Shadow now decides to go through with it for his girl, for the love of his life. Bad luck, bad events. He ends up in prison, and Laura comes to see him the first time, and she's like, there's a deal. I can take a year, you can take a year, and we can come back and get back together. And Shadow's like, no, I'm not going to let you go to jail for something I did. And she's like, no, but we made the plan together. Shadow's like, no, I'm not letting you go to jail, period. Like, that's not happening. That's not our lot. And Shadow feels, oh my God, she loves me so much. I love her so much. Whatever, this is going to happen. We're going to wait for, are you going to wait for me? And again, with Laura, as we saw in the beginning, where she goes through this monotonous, like, I'm not happy moments. And when Shadow's in prison, it becomes again a routine. Like, oh, I'm just going to go to prison to visit my boo. I'm just going to go to prison to visit my boo. And I'm going to call him. I'm going to answer. He's going to call. I'm going to answer. And lately, she got lonely. I don't know how many, it doesn't say how many years into the sentence it was, but she got lonely. And so Audrey's husband, Dane Cook's character, comes in and he provides someone for her, a man for her at some point, and then somehow they get into this illicit relationship. And Laura's like, look, I know we're doing this, but this is just what it is. But when Shadow comes out, we're done. And Dane, his character is not happy with it. He tells her, I'm not happy with this. And so moving on, when Shadow is about to get out, he's like, nah, I want to leave my wife. I'll leave my wife, you leave Shadow, and we can have a life together. And she's like, no, I never really wanted a life with you. I just wanted the companionship, or what this was. This is all it was to me. And they decide to get in the car and drive, and we know the rest of what happens there. We know pieces, go places, and yeah, I'm not gonna go into all of that. But yeah, so that happened, and we get the beautiful scene again. Now we get to see meet Anubis, Jackiel, in this episode again. I love his character, and I love who plays him. I think he does a very good job of it. We get to meet him in this, and he comes in and he's like, yo, like, I'm taking you with me. Laura, I feel like the reason they did this episode, they did the episode they did before this, is to show you what an obedient person looks like, and what a good person looks like, versus what Laura Moon looks like, So she comes in, and she's like, nah, I don't know you. What do you want from me? In the last episode, Jackiel reached in and grabbed the woman's heart. As he reaches in for Laura's heart, she's like, no, don't touch me. Again, why are you touching me? He's like, I gotta weigh your heart. She's like, against that feather? Like, nah, it's not, that's not right. It's not fair. What if I'm not good? He tells her, you're gonna go in this dark box where it's nothing. You're just gonna go into nothingness. No good, no bad, just nothingness, because you're a terrible person in life. And just as he's about to grab her to throw in the box, something else grabs her. She's out of eternity, and she's out of whatever it is. And she digs her way out of the box, she digs her way out of her grave. And newly minted zombie Laura walks out of the grave, and she sees a light. She decides to walk towards the light, and she sees the light starts to dwindle. So if you remember in episode 1, where Technical Boy's children, or goons, hung Shadow, lynched him, and someone saved him, we didn't see who it was. We get to see who it is in this episode. It was Laura, and it was beautifully done. She's a zombie, so she's not gonna die no matter what they do. She destroys them. She gets shadowed down. She loses her arm. She picks her arm back up. She walks back to her house, cleans herself up, and while she's trying to fix the arm, she sees that light again. Shadow's back home to clean up, and so she doesn't want him to see her like that, and so she runs out, and we get the best scene in American Gods. I feel like I say this every episode, but we get the best scene in American Gods when Audrey sees Laura in her house, zombie Laura in her house, and it's like, you're dead. You shouldn't be here. You're dead. Why are you here? She's crying. She's sobbing. She's emotional. She's a wreck. But in all actuality, this was a good scene, because this is where you get to say goodbye. This is where you get to say, oh, after all the nonsense that you put me through, and you put my family through, and this is where you get kind of. So Audrey, to me, gets closure out of the whole event. She sews her up, and she's driving her to go meet Shadow, and they're talking, and she's like, well, you never loved him. And Laura's like, maybe I did. I mean, but I love him now. He's my personal sunshine, and it translates well, because every time she sees where Shadow is, she sees that light, and she sees, she sees his aura, and she starts to say, dang, like, this is what I didn't see when I was living. Like, this is the guy I was with. Like, he's so good that he shines through. Like, are you kidding me? This is what I wasted. And so that's what was going through Laura's mind now. And so while they're on the road, Jackiel and Ibis come through and stop them. And Jackiel, is like, we got some talking to do. We got to talk. And so they get to talking, and Jackie and Ibis is like, well, this is our funeral home. We've been here. They take Laura to their funeral home. We've been here for a while, and we've been doing this for a while. So hey, like, I know what we're doing here. And so they fix her up. They paint her. Give her fleshy colors, and give her color back. And Jackiel says something to her. Oh, asks her a question. What is it that brought you back? Was it love? And she's like, well, I don't know. But what is it that's keeping you here? Is it love? And she says, yes. And she's like, and Jackiel says, okay, good. Because when you're done, when it's done with you, I will be back to collect you. Because he is the collector of the afterlife. He's the guy. He's the bridge between the dead and the dead and the afterlife. So he didn't finish his job with her, but he's going to help her finish what brought her back and what's keeping her here. that's a very, very interesting point, and that's a very good story point, because we tend, it shows that in life she took advantage of Shadow and his love and what he meant to her, and she didn't see it then, and she wasn't happy with it, but now in death, that's the thing that's keeping her going. That's what's keeping her, I don't want to say keeping her alive, but that's what's keeping her going. That's her main motivation now is, oh my gosh, this is the guy that loved me. I have to go talk to him. I have to go explain to him. Which brings us to the hotel room. She gets there and Shadow comes in, and this episode again ended the exact same way episode 3 ended. But so that's my recap. The review of the episode, very, very beautiful. They're very, very good looking shots in this, like when she's rescuing Shadow. That was a good shot, seeing it from Shadow's point, and now seeing it from her vantage point. That was a very, very beautiful scene, beautiful shots. Her and Audrey's interaction was beautiful. Like, they have some sort of chemistry, and it showed. And what the writers have done is trying to now, we've always been focused on the guys in the episode, and a lot of the guys and a lot of the sex, but now we get to focus on on the women, and they pick the two best women to do that, or the two who have almost the same amount of pain and the same amount of animosity and anger with each other to do that. Ibis was very good. I mean, he had a very minuscule scene. Jackie L was good in the last episode, and he was even better in this one. Everyone in this episode was good. Again, this was a very, to me, I would say short episode, but a small episode because it was more contained to just one character, and we got to focus really on her and why she's back and why she's here and what happened, to her and earlier, why she's back and why she's here. So again, I love this episode. I am going to rate it in 8.5. Go watch it. If you're not watching it, hey, I don't know what's wrong with you. Anyway, down in the comment section, let me know if you're watching American Gods. Let me know if you like our reviews, if you like my review and recap on it. Let me know if if you're also reading the comics, which I recommend to people when I talk to people, if you don't feel like reading the book, because the book is really wordy, and if you like illustration with your words, well, there's a comic book out there, so go read that. You can find Earth 2 on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Earth 2, the number 2 Comic Cast. I am MoeCrosby. I just gave you the American Gods Get Gone episode number 4. It's been my recap and review. So you know what? Go watch the show. Peace.